Chapter 36. I decided to take my own car. Our vehicles are next to each other on the ferry. I look straight ahead, not turning a single degree. I feel for the pouch in the drink holder and toss a palmful of sema to the river. Help me with what's coming next, I say. Auntie's timing is the worst. I need this time to put together all the clues, not spend it getting yelled at by my aunt. Plus, Jamie's parting words still linger in my mind. What does he think he knows? She follows me all the way to her house. There's the glow of a fire in the woods behind the pole barn. It's not a full moon tonight, so it can't be a ceremonial fire for that. Perhaps someone passed away and I haven't heard about it yet. When I pull up to the house, Josette's car is there. She must be babysitting the twins if Art is tending a fire. I park next to her car. My aunt walks beside me to the clearing, which overlooks the First Nations reserve across the river's north channel. Our breaths appear and disappear together. Art stands next to the fire, stoking it with a shovel. There are several large rocks in the pit. We call them grandfathers because they have been here forever, seeing and hearing all. I glance over to the Madudiswan. The curved dome of the sweat lodge is covered in old blankets and tarps. The entrance blanket is flipped above the eastern opening. What's going on, Auntie? Intervention sweat, she announces. Can you even do that? I've never heard of it before. I'm a modern Nishkwe. I just invented it, hey? She holds out a floral-gathered cotton skirt for me. Her unwavering hand is like Lily's, demanding Travis's gun. I reach for the skirt. After stepping into the skirt, I pull it over my jeans before taking off everything underneath. I remove my toque, coat, Red Wing sweatshirt, socks, and shoes. Although I'm barefoot and wearing only a t-shirt and skirt, I'm not cold. The fire is strong. It should be. It had an extra 2 hours to strengthen. Auntie holds a small, round bundle of mashkadewashk. There are different varieties of sage, as well as male and female versions. Mashkadewashk is for clearing negative energy. She lights one end from a glowing ember that Art holds out on an old shovel. We smudge ourselves with the smoke from the female sage to prepare for the sweat. Auntie crawls into the Madudiswan. Art waits for me to enter so he can use the shovel to place one of the glowing grandfather rocks in the center of the lodge before lowering the blankets over the entrance. There is ceremony inside the Madudiswan, healing, returning to balance. Madudiswan means Mother Earth's womb. You enter your mother and leave reborn. I lower to all fours, like a baby, and follow my aunt's lead. Crawling forward, I pray, not asking for help with one of the 7 grandfathers, but acknowledging the grandfather instead. Dabada Ziwin, humility, the knowledge that I am part of something larger than my existence. I give myself up. Afterward, Auntie and I sit at the fire, fully dressed once again. When I couldn't find my toque, she handed me a spare knit cap to pull over my damp hair. We gulp cold spring water before tasting the hominy soup and blueberry galette that Art brought us before retiring for the night. We enjoy our small feast while watching the glowing embers. Salty broth and mushy kernels of hominy nourish something deep inside me. When I bite into the galette, the tang of the wild blueberries mixes with the faint sweetness of the biscuit-like cake, taking me back to my berry feast. I got my first moon when I was 13. Mom alerted my aunt. If I chose to do a berry fast, Auntie explained, I wouldn't be able to eat any berries for 1 whole year. No fresh strawberries in early summer, no tart raspberries or fat blackberries to fill my mouth. And hardest of all, no blueberries, my absolute favorite. Auntie even took me wild blueberry picking, testing my resolve. In the woods north of Paradise, which felt like a secret from the intense August sun, she wandered off, leaving me with a bucket for collecting the tiny, ripe blueberries. I had to constantly remind myself of what I couldn't have, for fear of forgetting and popping a blueberry into my mouth without thinking. At the end of the day, Auntie eyeballed me as if with X-ray vision. I met her strong gaze with my own. I resisted temptation, knowing I'd never be able to hide any dishonesty from her radar. Sadly, I know now that I can. My year-long berry fast ended with a feast. Auntie, Mom, Grandma Pearl, and my Nishkwe cousins and aunties gathered to honor my passage into womanhood. My mother held a plump strawberry for me. I had to refuse it 3 times, but on the 4th offer, I leaned forward and took it into my mouth. Its sweetness reached the tips of my fingers and toes. When I took a handful of my beloved blueberries, I marveled at each one, appreciating the nuanced range of tart to sweet. It was like experiencing them for the first time. My entry to womanhood was filled with joy, pride, belonging, and seeing ordinary things with new eyes. I am overcome with deep gratitude as I sit here next to Auntie before the fire. Auntie has shown me how to be a strong Nishkwe, full of love, anger, humor, sorrow, and joy. Not as something perfect. She is a woman who is complex and sometimes exhausted, but mostly brave. She loves imperfect people fiercely. Her eyes open. She smiles tiredly at me. This is when I should tell her what's going on. But I know it's not safe to involve Auntie. The stakes for her are different. It's not just her. She is not alone on her journey. We jindewin. Instead, I focus on a plate of food Art placed on the stump at the edge of the woods. Next to the plate is a bundle of female sage, a copper spoon, and my toque. Offerings for the little people, Auntie explains. I quickly shove more galette in my mouth to hide my surprise. Art heard them in the woods while we were in the Madudiswan, Auntie says. They check on us, like Animikig, during thunderstorms, hoping to see us living Anishinaabe Minobi Madziwin. And maybe getting angry if they see us messing with stuff we shouldn't be around? I hold my breath and watch Auntie's face, all shadows and light from the glowing embers of the dying fire. I suppose so. But most who know about bad medicine aren't going to leave it lying around unprotected. In the wrong hands, people can do harm by not knowing what they're messing with. She holds my gaze. Those who know the old teachings, the medicines on the opposite side of healing, they respect its power. We sit in silence for a long time. Uncle David and Auntie used the term bad medicine. So had Lily, the day she went all goon on TJ after he dumped me. My uncle stated clearly in the notebook that there was no connection between the mushrooms and the bad medicine, his code for the meth X. Auntie said bad medicines were the opposite of the healing kind. You need to be careful, Donis, when you're asking about the old ways. She looks at me the way Sini Nimki does sometimes at the Elder Center. There's a saying about bad medicine. Know and understand your brother, but do not seek him. Auntie reaches over to a birch bark basket filled with sema. Taking some in her left hand, she says a quiet prayer. I rise, repeating her actions, releasing the sema into the last embers of the fire. Auntie's voice wraps me like a blanket. Please be careful. Not every elder is a cultural teacher, and not all cultural teachers are elders. It's okay to listen to what people say, and only hold on to the parts that resonate with you. It's okay to leave the rest behind. Trust yourself to know the difference. My aunt hasn't been around lately, because I've engineered it that way, but she seems to acknowledge my forging ahead without her. Something changes between us as we watch the fire simmer into ash, as if I've crossed over from a place where I was a child and am now a grown woman. I trust you to know who to share yourself with, and when not to, she says. I love that you are figuring it out so much sooner than I did. I've made so many foolish choices, messed up so badly, and so often in my life. I gave too much of myself to men who didn't deserve me. As I listen to Auntie, it begins to snow. Big, beautiful flakes, softly floating all around us like tiny feathers. I met Art a long time ago. Met him at ceremonies. Didn't think of him in any romantic way. Art was too mellow, not my type. She smiles to herself before sighing. I used to be with this one guy. I thought the sun rose just to shine light on him. He was handsome and smart and the life of the party. But oh, When we fought, it was so bad. She shivers and pulls the coat around her more tightly. He consumed all the oxygen in the room and left nothing for me to breathe. If the sun dared to shine on me instead of him, it was my fault. The only way to keep him happy, to see the version of him he was when other people were around, was to make myself small. Her voice cracks. It's hard when someone says they love you, but they need to contain and control the things that make you, you. She pauses to put Seima onto the ashes. So I left him. I came back to the sweat lodge, stayed sober for ceremonies. It felt like Creator breathing air back into me. I ran into Art again, saw him clearly this time. Auntie closes her eyes as the snowflakes land on her cheeks. Oh, I still managed to screw up plenty. I used to start fights with Art to see what he would be like when he was angry. I'd say hurtful things and then turn away quickly. He asked me why I did that. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I told him I was bracing for his punch. That's not love, he told me. Love honors your spirit, not just the other person's, but your own spirit too. When she looks at me, my aunt seems at peace. I found my way back to Minobi Madziwin, our good way of life. I love and am loved. I am true to Creator and to Wajindewin. She points her lips to her home, where her husband and babies sleep. Honor your spirit. Love yourself. I gotta focus on school. You focus on yourself. We gotta stand on our own feet separately. Don't you see? I can't stand on my own if I'm always holding you up. When Lily told Travis that she was done for good, he pulled out a gun. Love is not control. If he had truly loved Lily, he would have wanted her to have a good life, even if it wasn't with him. Instead, he did the opposite of love. Travis steadied the gun in his hand and thought only of himself. As we head back from the fire, Auntie invites me to sleep on the sofa, but I decide to catch the last ferry back to the mainland. As I drive, the snow lets up. At the launch, I park under the light pole. Mine is the only vehicle waiting. I wrap myself in Lily's quilt and page through the notebook. The ferry horn signals its departure from the mainland. It will be here in 5 minutes. I open the notebook to my uncle's entry on the 4th of April from his mushroom search on Duck Island. That page, and the 4 pages that follow, are his notes from when he found the previously undocumented parasitic mushroom and analyzed it for hallucinogenic qualities, as well as his questioning whether there even was a connection between hallucinogenic mushrooms and meth X. I tear the 5 pages so there is no trace of anything regarding the dead end. Anyone reading the notebook will assume Uncle David's efforts were incomplete rather than unsuccessful. The Nish kids in Minnesota didn't have a shared group hallucination. They had a shared encounter with the little people, warning the kids to leave the bad medicine alone. As long as the FBI continues their wild goose chase in search of a hallucinogenic mushroom, they will leave our other medicines alone. I gather any torn page remnants left inside the spiral binding, along with the matches Lily kept in the glove compartment. All the evidence of Uncle David's additional research goes up in flames on a flat rock off the shoulder of the road. It burns quickly, and I am back inside the Jeep when the deckhand motions me to drive forward. The ferry is all mine for the last trip of the night. Stepping from the Jeep midway through the crossing, I release a pinch of Seima over the railing. It carries my prayer of thanks. Miigwech for trusting me with the information about the mushroom, and Chi Miigwech for the responsibility of protecting my community by not sharing the information with the FBI. Because I think I know what Travis did to create Meth X. Chapter 37. After Lily broke up with Travis over Christmas break, he kept trying to win her back with romantic gestures. Travis had a heart-shaped pizza delivered to her during AP English class. He spray-painted her name in the snow outside her homeroom. He stood in the parking lot at the end of the school day, holding a boombox above his head, blasting their official love song as if he were John Cusack in the movie Say Anything. Sometimes his efforts worked, and the Lily and Travis saga would get picked up for another episode, but it always ended like the previous seasons. Travis was no longer the class clown. His handsome looks disappeared along with a shocking amount of his body weight. Yet even as he was wasting away, there were still girls who told Lily how romantic it was when he did one of his "give us another chance" routines. She and I wondered what grand gesture Travis would do for Valentine's Day. He'd been building up to something that had all the indications of being epic. There were the deliveries of floral bouquets, her locker filled with her favorite candy. When it snowed all day long, Lily's Jeep would be the only one in the parking lot that had been brushed off and shoveled out. I could feel Lily softening more toward Travis with each grand gesture. Valentine's Day fell on a Saturday. We thought Travis might make his romantic declaration on Friday, because he wasn't welcome at Granny June's, and his grand gestures always took place in or around school. On Friday the 13th, Travis followed Lily onto the ferry after she dropped me off at Auntie's for the weekend. He darted from his truck to her unlocked passenger door before she realized what he was doing. He made his grand romantic gesture, offering her love medicine. No details of where or how he had come into possession of it. They could make plans to take it together on Valentine's Day. Lily exited her Jeep, leaving him inside, and went upstairs on the ferry to the small waiting room. She called and asked me to come get her. When I met the ferry on its return trip to the island, my heartbroken best friend told me what he had done. Then one day, a few weeks later, I was running errands with my mother's car and saw Travis at the gas station on the res. My heart sank. Travis looked horrible. He was deep in the throes of meth addiction. By then, Travis Flint had created Meth X and been its first customer. The night he killed Lily, Travis told me that the little people were mad at him. I just wanted her to love me again. Somehow, Travis had come across a love medicine, the kind of bad medicine that Auntie warned me against asking too much about. When Lily refused to try the love medicine, Travis must have added it to a batch of meth, also known as his cookies. What he thought was a love medicine was actually the opposite of love. Real love honors your spirit. If you need a medicine to create or keep it, that's possession and control, not love. A couple weeks later, on a res in Minnesota, a group of kids tried it while they were hanging out in the woods. Every single one got sick. Not lovesick for some girl they'd never met, but infected with an insatiable desire for more meth. I can do my part to protect our medicines, while trusting that there are those in the community who are doing their part to preserve and protect many different medicine teachings. On my drive home, I stop at Jamie and Ron's again. This time, I slide the spiral notebook through the mail slot in their front door. When I walk back to my Jeep, my steps grow lighter. It feels as if a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I shared only what Ron and Jamie had a need to know. The following morning, I rush through my bathroom routine, throw on running clothes, and practically burst out the front door. Each sunrise is a minute or two later than the prior day. Even in the darkness, I see the familiar figure stretching beside my Jeep. "Happy birthday, Donis," Jamie calls out. It may not be visible to him, but I flash my widest smile anyway, unable to contain my excitement. I'm glad his first words are not about the investigation. Today is too special. My whispered prayer is for Zagidawin. Love is the first grandfather teaching we receive as babies, even before birth, as new spirits traveling while our bodies are forming to the cadence of our mother's heartbeat. Love from our parents, family, and Creator is with us as we draw our first breath in this world. I wonder what Dad felt and thought the first time he held me. Mom said Auntie reached out 2 weeks after we returned from Montreal, asked if she could give Mom and baby me a ride to Sugar Island. My firekeeper family wanted to meet me. My father wanted to hold me. After our warm-up stretches, Jamie and I run towards Sherman Park. Our invigorating pace makes it a silent run. When we reach the park, Jamie halts instead of turning around like we usually do. "Gotta take a leak," he says, walking to a nearby tree. I stretch my legs while staring across the river, marveling at the way the sunrise behind me lights up the Canadian horizon. "Ron won't be at the benefit game tonight," Jamie says, coming up beside me. He's going to Marquette to enter the notebook into evidence and analyze its contents with another agent. I nod but say nothing. The investigation continues. The FBI has their work, and I have mine. The truth about MethX was one part of the investigation. I still need to find out who is distributing the meth and who has taken over production with Travis gone. What are you doing today for your birthday? He asks, changing the subject. Run, Evercare, class, lunch with Granny June, and spend the rest of the afternoon with Mom before heading over to the game. Could I take you to dinner after the game to celebrate your birthday? I'd like that, I say. You didn't tell me what color your dress is. I wanted to get one of those corsages like Mike's mom did for Macy. It's red, but I don't like corsages. I think they're kind of weird. It's not a big deal. I decide to dive into what is the bigger deal. What did you think I was being clever about last night? You were interrogating the interrogator, Jamie says, getting information but not giving anything significant in return. And then there was the whole thing with your body language. Apparently, my attempt at a poker face last night failed. What did you learn? I say, both eager and hesitant for his analysis. You are a passionate person. You love deeply. You have flashes of anger and sadness. You can be silly, even dorky, at times. I hear the smile in his voice. After a few paces, he continues. Last night, Ron was telling you details about the investigation that killed your uncle. And you were too calm, Donis. You asked about what happened to the Nish kids in Minnesota, and when Ron didn't have an answer, you didn't get irritated like when you asked me about them in Marquette. You care deeply about them and what's happened since their group hallucination. The only time you reacted was when you remembered what he said about burner phones. Could I be any less stealthy? I must be the squeaky shoe of spies. You're going rogue, hiding things, Jamie says. I'm not. It was a 150-page notebook with 145 pages. Shit. There it is. Does Ron know? I counted the pages while he was taking a shower. Jamie looks at me. I think they'll figure it out soon. Probably today. I don't respond until we are doing cool-down stretches in my driveway. Can you trust me, Jamie, that what I removed wasn't meant for the FBI? He answers with a question of his own. Can you trust me? Jamie leaves me to ponder whether both questions share the same answer. I don't know, and the stakes are too high for uncertainty. Chapter 38. It's late afternoon when I walk into Chimakwa with my large duffel bag of hockey gear slung over my good shoulder. Once I enter the women's locker room, the oddly intoxicating aroma brings back the thrill of every great play I've ever made. The whiff of industrial cleaning products mixed with the skunky stink of sweat smells powerful. Happy birthday to me, I whisper before practically skipping to my old locker. One glance at Robin's locker next to mine wipes the smile off my face. I figured today would be a mixture of highs and lows. Playing hockey one more time, but for the worst possible reason. My phone buzzes while I'm changing into my gear. Auntie. Not sure I can watch you play. I get why, but it is still foolish. I swallow the lump in my throat. Auntie has never missed a home game of mine. You still remember how to play? Been a while. Macy laces up her black hockey skates, which are adorned with acrylic painted flowers. Yup, starters have good memories, I shoot back. Just a little reminder about which one of us started the game on the ice and which one watched it from the bench. Once we are ready, Macy and I leave the locker room together. The bleachers are already filling up with people who want to watch our warm-up. We step onto the ice side by side and automatically cross our sticks for all the Kwezanwug who feel alive the moment their hockey skates touch the ice. When it's game time, my body feels the delicious tingle of battle. My stomach clenches, my legs are jittery, and I feel like puking. Classic adrenaline rush. On the ice, it is music to my ears, feast to my hunger. Coach Bobby puts me in as left defenseman. And it's like my second skin. I breathe it, I transform, and everything that is not a tenacious beast falls away. I join center ice, waiting for the referee to drop the puck for Levi and my teammate to fight over. Levi will aim the puck to Stormy on my right side. Sometimes they operate as a single-cell entity, as if Levi's brain controls two sets of arms and legs. Levi as host, and Stormy doing his bidding without independent thought. Just when I think my body will explode from adrenaline overload, the ref releases the puck and something magical, yet familiar happens. Time slows for an instant, enough for a quiet calm to wash over me. I watch the puck drop, as if in slow motion, not even touching the ice before Levi's superhuman reflexes have responded and his stick smacks it to Stormy. I intercept and pass it to Quinton, my high school teammate, who rushes to the Soup's net. Time now races, and I am the Terminator. With laser focus, I instantly compute actions into strategic countermoves and proactive aggressions to force opponents into changing course. My team quickly finds its rhythm, defending the puck and setting up plays. We know Quinton will be halfway to the net, ready for the pass. We won the state championship my junior year and made it to the quarterfinals last spring. We are fluent in playing as a cohesive unit. The Soups, individually, are better players, but they haven't gelled as a team yet. Or as my brother would say, they aren't reading each other. Levi loses his temper, swearing at a teammate for not sharing the same hive mind as Stormy and Mike. Although both are rookie Soups, they've been on the ice with Levi for 10 years. In the final period, I take a hip check from Stormy and keep going. That goon ain't getting in my way. I backcheck and steal the puck. Macy, who subbed in a few minutes ago, is waiting on the periphery. We've danced this number before. Stormy bounds back for another go at me, but I pass behind my back to Macy, who chips it to Quinton. She races to the net, where, 3 seconds later, she gets it back and fires the puck. Mike's arms seem elastic, stretching to reach the upper corner of the net to block Macy's shot. Damn, she nearly had it in. Stormy crashes into me. I'm thrown into the plexiglass and boards, bouncing off and landing in a heap on my shoulder. I gasp at the pain. Nadanis, Baziganjasin. I quickly get up and roll my left shoulder to assess the pain. It stabs. No. Maybe I just need to shake out a kinked nerve. Coach Bobby pulls me out. My sub and I fist bump with our right hands as we cross paths. I sit on the bench, moving my left shoulder in circles. It hurts like hell. A minute later, Macy subs out and sits next to me. Stormy got you good, she says. I reply, as pain radiates from my bad shoulder. Keeping my eyes on the puck, I fight the temptation to look anywhere else. If Auntie is here watching, I am absolutely certain she is glaring at me from wherever she is seated. I bounce my legs, dreading the inevitable confrontation. Your guy is pretty smooth, Macy says. It takes a few blinks to realize she means Jamie. Truthfully, I haven't paid him any notice. She laughs. Holy, you're a supportive boo. Screw him. He ain't on my team, I say. All's fair in love and hockey. Off ice, he's mine. On ice, he's theirs. I point my lips toward Levi. The part about Jamie not being on my team, I don't think it's true anymore. Can you trust me? His voice echoes. I watch as the guy who replaces me does a crappy job on defense. Crappy sub was a year ahead of Robin, so he has never played with Levi. My brother sees every opportunity and weakness. The only way to beat Levi is to stay at his side and strategize your best counter move if he ever lets down his guard. If I figured out crappy sub in 2 minutes, then Levi has as well. Put me in, I shout to Coach Bobby, standing so I can jump over the boards. Sit down and shut up, Fontaine, he yells back. I grumble and stew in the burning pain. Macy laughs. You only got one good arm. What are you gonna do? She imitates a penguin, keeping her arms pressed to her sides and flapping her hand next to me. Crappy sub leaves an opening for Levi to skate through, receive a pass from Jamie, and take a shot. The blast of the Soup's goal horn, from an actual freighter, confirms my brother's aim. I would have skated into Levi, drawn a penalty, and made a sacrifice for the greater good, I shout over the deafening noise to Macy. We lose, but just barely. Although my team played better, we couldn't get anything past Mike. One look at my brother during the post-game handshake line, and it's clear. He is pissed. Levi knows we handed the Soups their sloppy asses. Jamie's face lights up when we meet in the handshake line. My stomach somersaults at his touch. Do you trust me? In the locker room, I check to make sure Auntie isn't waiting to give me hell. Once I know the coast is clear, I text my doctor. Then I peel off my jersey sideways and wince in pain. You want me to get coach? Macy offers while helping me out of my gear. Nah, I just texted Dr. B to meet me at War Mem after I shower. Yeah, good thinking on that shower. You're really ripe. She scrunches her nose as if we are trapped in a Sugar Island outhouse in July. Bitch, I say without any heat behind it. I walk toward the showers. Bigger bitch, she replies, following me. The bigger the better. I turn on the water and wash with one hand, keeping my left arm glued to my side. If you say so, Macy laughs. Petty bitch, always trying to get the last word in. I know so, I throw back at her, letting our smack talk distract me from the pain. I towel off gingerly and get dressed. As I attempt to zip my jeans, she huffs a tortured sigh and helps me. When we reach the lobby, the packed crowd cheers. The roar feels familiar, like a real high school game. I'd forgotten how great this moment is. All of the community love. Hockey brings my community together, native and non-native, all ages, all neighborhoods. Here in Chimakwa, a community recreation building funded by the Sugar Island Ojibwe tribe, everyone stands united for our teams. I just hope they remember today was for Robin Bailey. With my duffel bag slung over my unhurt shoulder and my jacket over the bag like a saddle blanket, I push through the crowd. Jamie stands a few feet behind the other guys. When I touch his arm, he stares at me in astonishment. What? I check to see if I put my sweatshirt on backward. I figured you were a decent player. Jamie's hushed voice reaches me through the surrounding chaos. But Tanis, you're incredible. I don't know what to do with his admiration. I shrug my shoulders, wincing in pain. He takes my duffel bag before I can protest. You okay? I took a hit, I say, faking nonchalance. There she is, Mike interrupts. Donnie defense. We kicked your asses, Stormy declares. That's not what I saw. I ignore Stormy's glare. It's all good, Levi says, bumping into Jamie robustly enough to dislodge my gear bag. The point was to start playing better as a team. The point was to do something for Robin. I scowl at my brother, who helps Jamie with my bag. How could this be just another game? Levi took Robin to Shagala her junior year. No guy should have that kind of power over you, no matter who he is or how much everyone adores him, or how much you might still want him. Robin's words ring in my ears. Did she mean Levi? He does have a reputation for loving and leaving. Or as the guys say, snag and brag. What's with the stink eye? Levi asks me. You mess up your shoulder when Stormy body checked you? He tells Jamie. She's got a bum shoulder, always popping at socket. Really? How long has it been an issue? Jamie asks Levi while looking at me. Mike's parents join us. I avoid eye contact with Call Me Grant. I haven't been near him since the bus ride back from Green Bay. Happy birthday, Donis, Mrs. Edwards says. How did it feel to play for the Blue Devils one more time? Great, I say. It feels good to let my true feelings show. Tonight, Secret Squirrel is taking a break. One hell of a birthday, Call Me Grant says. Hockey and becoming a tribal member. I gape as he puts his finger to his lips like he did from the doorway of his hotel room. Shh, your secret is safe with me, Donis Fontaine. He continues. You didn't know? Tribal Council met today instead of next Monday, because Chief Manitou and a few other council members are traveling to Washington, D.C. that day. Woohoo! Levi shouts, reaching to hug me and spin me around. I keep both arms glued to my sides, mimicking Macy's penguin impersonation from earlier. It feels like I'm in a centrifuge. When he stops, I'm nauseous, only partly from the spin. The other reason is Call Me Grant being so interested in tribal council business. My heart lifts when the twins shout for me from across the lobby. They sit on Auntie's and Art's shoulders. Pauline chews on a section of her ponytail. Mom is with them as well. I check Auntie's face for any indication that she is upset with me, but all I see is a big smile. I wave back with my good arm and head over. Jamie remains at my side. Please don't say anything about my shoulder, I tell him before we reach my family. I hold hands with Jamie, keeping him close to my left side so I won't need to move it. The twins, now hopping around, get side hugs from me with my right arm. Mom kisses me and whispers how proud she is of me. Happy birthday to our newest tribal member. Auntie's voice cracks as she leans in to hug me. I hide my wince and pretend that Call Me Grant didn't hijack this special moment. Oh, Auntie, this means so much. Miigwech for helping me. Mom wipes away her happy tears. I know she always wanted this for me. Jamie wants to take me out to dinner to celebrate, I announce. Have to spoil the birthday girl a little, he says. Mom gives Jamie a huge hug, and I can tell she means it. Jamie laughs at Art's jokes and nods when my aunt tells him something I can't hear. The twins want to do a simultaneous high-five clap with him. Jamie encourages them with each attempt to sink their leaps in the air to reach his raised palms. He laughs when the girls intentionally smack each other, and again when they finally perfect it. Our eyes meet. His are sparkling with pure joy as an incandescent smile tugs at his scar. It feels like we are in the zone together, where we are here with everyone else, but also somewhere else that is entirely ours. In that place, James Bryan Johnson is 18 years old and hoping to get scouted by U of M or Michigan Tech. Any school with an excellent pre-med program for me. We make plans to stay in the dorms for our first year and move off campus after that. His hockey schedule works well because I need to come home often to check on Mom. Waking up tangled in each other's arms is the best start to our day. He joins me in offering Sema each morning, giving thanks because every day feels like a gift. It is a beautiful dream. You are fluent in a language when you dream in it. I assumed Sini meant nighttime dreams. I didn't think about the ones that sneak up on you during the day. A tear falls down my cheek without warning. He isn't 18. He's 22. He has a different name, a past, a life beyond this assignment. I try to imagine a place for us to be together in the after of the investigation. But that dream, the one based in reality, is too murky and too far away to see. We walk to my Jeep. He loads my duffel bag into the back. Where would you like to go to dinner? He asks. With my good arm, I reach to touch his damp curls. My fingertips trace his scar and settle on his carotid artery. Each pulse is an affirmation that he is a real person, here with me in the now of the newer new normal. I kiss the pulse on his neck. Each heartbeat throbs against my lips. I inhale deeply, holding it in as if it might stay with me. His familiar soap and natural scent fill my lungs. Can you trust me? Jamie, would you drive me to the emergency room? The nurse tells me to change into a gown and that Dr. Bonacera will be right in. She instructs Jamie to tie my gown in the back and to leave my hurt shoulder free. As soon as the door closes, I turn my back to him and try wriggling out of my oversized sweatshirt, retracting my unhurt arm through the sleeve. Jamie lifts the sweatshirt over my head. He moves my hair over my right shoulder, exposing my bare back. I didn't bother with a bra after the shower. I would have had to ask Macy for help, and it was easier to freestyle. He kisses my hurt shoulder with lips soft as a whisper. From behind, he holds the gown in front of me, arms over my shoulders, and I put my uninjured arm through the armhole. He drapes it carefully over my hurt shoulder and ties it loosely in the back. You smell like strawberries, he says simply, sniffing next to my head. There's a knock on the door a second before Dr. B enters. At the sight of Jamie, my doctor greets him. They shake hands. Jamie introduces himself as my boyfriend. I tell Jamie that Dr. Bonacera's wife is the head nurse at Evercare. Okay, Donis, let's see what's going on here, Dr. B says in a soothing tone. I steel myself as he touches my shoulder. It's painful, but I've known worse. It's not dislocated, he says to my relief, but you did bang it good. So, no sling, just be gentle with it? I prescribe my own treatment plan. Hold on, not so fast, Donis, Dr. B says. He takes a pen from the pocket of his white coat and presses one end into the back of my upper arm. Do we need to do this now? I ask Dr. B, focusing on my hands resting on my lap. He doesn't know. Doesn't know what? Jamie asks, instantly alarmed. I remain fascinated by the ulnar artery threading along the back of my hand, a faint blue river barely visible beneath the skin. You didn't tell your boyfriend? Dr. B's voice is gentle, though disappointed. I want to remind Dr. B about doctor-patient confidentiality, but when I look up, his eyes are kind and filled with concern. I give a half shrug with one good shoulder and make a decision. It's okay, he can see, I say. I keep my eyes on Jamie now, as Dr. B slowly drags the pen down my arm. I only know what my doctor is doing because I'm familiar with the sensory test. It isn't until the pen reaches just above my elbow that I say, there. I spell it out for Jamie. That's where I feel the pen on my skin. Everything above it is numb.